Yes, it will be again a sad state of affair for Kenya, because we know if another high-profile athlete comes out who have been caught having used a banned substance again, it won't be any positive news for Kenyans. And yes, the world has been watching after Sumgong. It has been a nightmarish, actually bubbling for Kenyans. So it is also a sad state of affairs. Now let's talk about matters to do with the under-13 soccer tournament that is actually happening in Nakuru. I know a lot has been happening in Nakuru in regards to do with the same. Yes, I'm told by my director we're going to be talking about that in a few. But before we talk about that, we talk matters to do with the Kenyan Premier League. When we talk about matters to do with the Kenyan Premier League, and not a lot has been happening. And when we talk about Week 8 fixtures, I don't know what's your take on Kenya, because a lot of teams are trying to impress. Kariobangi Sharks happening to one of the games that is going to be played today against Chemelil Sugar, while Muhoroni is going to be playing against Tusker. A lot of emphasis, people looking at how Tusker has been performing.
I mean, you look at the fixtures that we have, you look at the table at the moment, everybody is looking at Posta Rangers. People are asking themselves, you know, how did Posta Rangers get themselves to the top of the table? And you look at the way they've been performing. Yes, they've not been winning by, you know, big margins in the league so far, but they've had that consistency, you know, winning 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, and this weekend they'll be playing FC Leopards, and I think that is their biggest test so far in the league. And with the Leopards wounded, having lost to Sofapaka midweek, I think this is a match where we will see, you know, if Rangers can really challenge for the title. Remember 2 seasons ago when they were among the top 3 teams in the league. Then come the second leg of the season, they crumbled badly. So I think we are out to see, in the match against Leopards, we are out to see whether they can really challenge for the title. I mean, and under Pamzo, we know how good Pamzo is, and I think bringing his experience to Rangers and you know, the type of players they have. Remember last season they had the best defense in the league, and I think if they continue with what they have at the moment, I think they can go on to challenge for the title.
What's your take, Abula? Because we were talking about Leopards and how they've been struggling when you compare about when you talk about the last season's actually performance. But at the same time, people are saying they seem to be having what it takes maybe to be contenders of this league this time out.
I don't think they have what it takes, because if you look at when the season was starting, at the beginning of the season, many people say that Leopards will struggle because they lost some of the players who were good last season. The likes of the striker Kefa Swani, I think, who was very important for them, last season, top scorer for them. And also there are some changes. There are some keys who have come into the Leopards team, and also they've changed the technical bench with Stuart Hall coming. So they were going to struggle this season, and I think what they've done is quite of a surprise. We didn't expect them to do.
Yes, Abula is saying it's quite a surprise. But yes, when we talk about also matters to do with football here in the country, you know, there's a lot of surprises. We've been talking about Nick Mwendo's new office and what they've been able to achieve so far. Yes, they've done maybe soccer proud. I know some critics will have their own takes of the same in different ways. But yes, for the first time, we're having the National Under-13 Youth Championship tie that is happening in Nakuru. And right now, I'm joined by Robert Mutomi, live from Nakuru. He's a CEO of the Federation. And yes, Mutomi, if you can hear me, it is for the first time that we're having the Under-13 Youth Championship. Probably, how did we get to this, and how beneficial are we expecting this to be?
Yeah, we started off the Under-13 Youth Championships with the leagues played in 43 sub-branches. We wanted to establish the leagues in all the 84 sub-branches, but it wasn't possible. And after the leagues were played, the best players from the leagues were chosen to represent their sub-branches, and the sub-branches played against each other, and a team was picked that represented the branch. And the branches played against each other within their regions, and then a team was chosen to represent the regions. We have 6 regions represented here: Western, Nairobi, Rift Valley, Coast, and Nyanza and Central Region. So we have, those are the 6 that are represented here today. And from this, we are going to pick 34 players. 34 young players who will form our first ever national academy at this age, and who will be prepared then to represent Kenya at the different age groups into the future, the under 15s, the under 17s, and the under 19s.
I know, Mudhomi, there's a lot of things that the Federation has been able to do when we talk about building soccer and nurturing talent. Probably, of what benefit do you think that the Under-13 Youth Championship is, not only to Nakuru, where we're having this edition, but also just in making sure that we have talent, maybe to represent the country in other disciplines, and, or maybe in other age groups. When you talk about under 15, we talk about under 18. It is a team. We don't have a national team to say that we have a national under 15 team. Probably, is this of any aid to football in the country?
Yes. From here, we are going to form our first ever under 13 team, which then will progress into the under 15 and the under 17. It's important because these are the best players that we are seeing from the grassroots, from the different parts of the country. Over 16,000 players participated in the under 13 leagues in 2016. So basically what we have here are the best of the best, selected in their regions to come and represent the regions, and from here we pick the best. So basically what we are doing is we are starting at the grassroots and at a young age group, and to prepare these players then to come and represent Kenya at the highest level in the future.
Before I let you go, what do we expect now if we get now the under 13, the final selection, the team will be selected? What do you expect from the young lads that are going to be selected from the event that is actually happening in Nakuru right now?
What you're going to see is these players put in an academy, the first academy of its kind. You will see them participating in a lot of matches, starting with Southampton in August, going to play in Southampton in August. Maybe a friendly against Tanzania in June. And from there, then you will see a group of players who are put together, who get to know and learn and to play with each other, so that when it comes then to into the future, as a team, the team is going to be stronger. But also, as individuals, we expect that these players are nurtured. They get into club football, and we expect that with the proper coaching, the proper setup, and the proper preparations, then we can have a good crop of professional players.
Thank you very much. That is CEO of the Football Kenya Federation, Robert Mudhomi, telling us about the National Under-13 Youth Championship that is currently going on in Nakuru. And yes, for him, he's saying it is important to nurture talent. It is important actually to give the young lads a chance, and with that we're going to be having a very, very good team maybe for future. It is a positive initiative, Abula, you'll agree.
Indeed, it is a positive initiative, and it's a good thing. The interesting part to me, I think, is that the team that will be picked from that, the 34 players that will be selected, will go to Southampton. And remember, Southampton, everybody knows in the world of football, they have a good young youthful team, and it's a good team of producing young players. Look at the likes of Gareth Bale, Alan Shearer, those who came from... If you look at the big teams in England right now, every team has a player who came up from Southampton, the likes of Theo Walcott, Luke Shaw, and I think it's a good thing that they'll get this experience. At least they go there to Southampton and see what it takes to bring such young players to maybe play professional football abroad.
Okay, you don't have a national under 15, probably, or a national team under 13 or under 18. So what's your general take? We've waited too long to do this?
Yeah, I think we waited too long to do this, and you have to give credit to the Federation for coming up with such an initiative. We've been talking about, developing grassroots football, but when you talk about developing grassroots football, and yet you don't have, structures that will benefit or help the youngsters that we have in the country who have the real talent, but, they end up wasting that, at some point or another. So at least when we have such, such a type of structures, it's easier even to track, such youngsters in their development, from getting from the under 13, under 15, they get to the under 20 team, and probably this will be one way of feeding the national team, feeding the clubs that we have in the country. So I think it's the way to go, and it should not only be for the national team. I think also clubs should be encouraged to have such, ventures.
Yes, clubs will be encouraged to have such ventures, and when you talk about encouraging clubs, a lot of clubs are just looking at how well they're going to be bolstering their squad, and starting by the youth fixtures and maybe making sure that they have a positive, a good youth structure is one way that they need actually to take by full force. And maybe we're going to be seeing different performance and different actually results when you talk about the Kenyan Premier League games, and also when you talk about different continentals ties that Kenya usually goes out there to actually take part. And also when we talk about that, we now take a look at the Kenya Premier League standing. Yes, I know we have a number of young players in the Kenya Premier League right now, but Posta Rangers seem to be having what it takes to start well. They always have that momentum when they start, and right now they are on top of that log. Is that a surprise for you, Abula?
It's not a surprise to me. And look at the table. Stats don't lie, Moses. If you look at the only team that hasn't lost any match this season, and they've only conceded 1 goal in the 7 matches that they've played. So Posta Rangers, I think they deserve it. Looking at last season, it was their first season after so long in the Kenya Premier League, and how they challenged the big boys, Gor Mahia and Tusker, and also Ulinzi, because they finished in the top 4 last season. Nobody expected that from Posta Rangers. So I think they picked up from where they left last season, and it's a good thing for them. And it's just, I think they are short of strikers. If they get good strikers, and I think they can challenge for the title this season.
Tusker danced away with the title last time out, Kenya, and Gor Mahia seems also to be saying, yes, Posta Rangers might be leading, but it's just 1 point ahead of us, so we can do some catch-up.
It's very disappointing when you look at Tusker. They've been a shadow of what they produced last season, and you look at the way they are performing this season. It's not inspiring at all. I mean, it's a team that you expected, to be among the top 4 teams of the league up to this moment, but they are not producing that. Probably critics may argue that that it's because of the tactics of the coach. The players have not gotten to, or rather have not gotten used to the tactics of the new coach. But I think despite the tactics and all, they have the quality. They have among the best players that we have in the country in the Middle and they should be among the top 5 at the moment. Gor Mahia, on the other hand, I think they are starting to gel, and the results are coming in despite losing the game back to Western Stima when they lost in Kisumu. I think things are starting to work out for them, and definitely they are one of the teams that you expect to win the league this season.
Talk about Tusker, yes, you were talking about Tusker, and it's surprisingly that Tusker are on the 11th position on the log. Yes, we know Lindsay Stars are trying to do some catch-up. LFC Leopards also seems things are going their way when we talk about this season in comparison to last season. But when we talk about the bottom side of this table, we have the likes of Zukericho. It seems like Zukericho are the whipping boys of the Kenya Premier League so far.
They are. I don't think if you look at all the teams that were promoted, the likes of Nakumat and Zukericho, I don't think they were well prepared. They knew what sort of challenge they are going to face in the Kenyan Premier League. So it's quite, they've been caught in a surprise for them. They didn't expect this type of challenge in the Kenya Premier League. And they'll have to improve if they want to stay in the Kenya Premier League this season.
Nakumatt are on the 13th position, but when we talk about Nakumatt being on the 13th position, we also see Sony Sugar on the 14th, Thika United, Mathare United. These are teams like Mathare United. Do you expect actually Mathare United to be on the 16th position of this log?
I didn't expect Mathare to be on the 16th position on the log at this moment. I mean, you look at the team that Kimanzi has, and a lot of players left at the end of the season, the likes of Waivon Isuza, the likes of Robinson Kamura. These are, they were among the best players of the league last season, the likes of Robinson Kamura. He's now in the national team. I mean, the credit has been going to him the way he's playing. He's a defensive rock, and I'm sure he's somebody that we are going to see a lot in the coming years playing for the national team. And, the number of players that Mathare lost, I think, and getting in new players, the gelling has not got to them well. So I think probably the second leg of the season, they will be turning things around. But for now, it's not the best thing for them. Zukerish, on the other hand, 2 draws so far, in 3 draws so far in the league. It's not something that, you know, probably they'd planned for. And as Abula said, probably the league took them by surprise. And you see most of the teams that get promoted into the Premier League, for them first, it's survival. You know, so that's not to be relegated, but the way things are going, they're not going their way. Kariobangi Sharks, you compare with Kariobangi Sharks, a team that started the season badly, but you see the way they've picked up their momentum, and now they're not in the bottom, you know, or rather the second half.
They're actually sitting on the 10th position.
Yeah, so they're not in the second half of the log. So some of the teams have really performed well that were promoted.
Yeah. Yes, talking about promotion and different teams.